Tamu. And I'm Leah, and we're Motherhood Reconstructed. We are Motherhood Reconstructed, and today we're celebrating our first anniversary with a panel discussion entitled Raising Excellence. Madeline Davis. I'm a kids fashion stylist. I have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. I'm really excited to be moderating tonight.
Hi, I'm Sarita, blogger for Kiki Blah Blah. I have 3 boys, 11, 8 and 3. They're mad, they're mental, and I write about them on the blog.
Hi, I'm C-O-K, is that me? I am a blogger and I am a business psychologist. I have 2 girls, aged 6 and 8, and I am ready to talk all about raising excellence and helping our kids to be the best they can be.
Hi, my name is Marianne Miles. I am the MD of Arete Media, a writer and a publicist. I'm here today to talk about raising excellence.
My name is B. Manzini. I am a writer, filmmaker and events curator. I was born in Zimbabwe and I've lived in East London most of my life. I have 1 son, his age is 24, and I'm very pleased and blessed to be a mother.
Today we are going to be talking about raising excellence, and this discussion topic was born out of something that I think we all think about all the time, but was put really succinctly by Yevadny at our last event, and I thought it would be a really interesting discussion for us to have and to hear from these women who are absolutely brilliant. We have knowledge of them personally, some to a greater degree, some to a lesser degree, but we chose them because all of them have shared something that we have really connected with and we think would be a valuable contribution to our collective thinking about how we're raising our children.
I came to the first Motherhood Reconstructed event last year, and I basically asked the question, how do you raise woke black children in what is meant to be a post-racial society? Okay, first question, what does raising excellence mean to you? What does it mean in your family and generally?
For me, so I'm Nigerian. My parents came over here and they were very conscious from, I guess, the moment they came that they wanted to come here for a better life. They wanted to educate themselves, they wanted us to be educated, they wanted the sacrifice to be worth it. So I guess I try to live that through my children and explain to them that I've got where I am not just by luck but by directing effort and making sure that I can be the best that I can be.
Raising excellence to me means exactly what you just said. Being the best that you can be. Now, in my household, my parents are Caribbean, and it was get an education, get a job, get an education, get a job, because that's where my parents came from.
I actually home tutored my son. So he went to a private school when he was young, and because I was already a writer in education, I felt that I had the skills and the confidence to be able to impart some knowledge, at least in terms of English. So I taught him for a number of years at school, at home rather than school, and during that time I did not realise that he was dyslexic or dyspraxic, which says a lot to the fact that I actually think that teachers have teaching disabilities. And he actually got his first GCSE when he was 11, and then he got, thank you. And then he went on and got the rest of his GCSEs, but got astronomy, and I made him look at like different things that not everybody was necessarily doing. Like, I can genuinely say I like my child as a man, and I know that he'll be a good father, that he'll be a good husband, and he'll be a good member of society. And for me, that's excellent.
Like I said, my kids are still young, 3, 8 and 11. So I'm basically starting the journey. I haven't got there yet. So that's why I say I'm winging it, because I have no idea what they're going to turn out like. I just want them to have that bit of self-awareness and know both sides, because ultimately you can go to history class and just be taught about Britain. Where's your other side? Where's your other culture? So my thing is, like I said, we've all started on this journey together, so it's the start of it.
I want to ask you both, raising black sons, and what you think about the kind of preconceived notions of black masculinity, and did that restrict how you raise them? Like, how important is that? Because it is kind of one-sided view of black masculinity. So
It didn't make a damn bit of difference raising my children. I really didn't care. When my youngest was 3, he wanted to wear pink Converse. Pink Converse. Yeah. When he was 3, he wanted to wear pink Converse to school, and he did.
Good.
He did, because that's what he wanted to wear. I don't buy into that. I mean, yeah, I don't even know what black masculinity means, to be perfectly honest.
Question. I was very aware of what was happening visually. So we're talking about the 90s now, right? Very, very aware. And in terms of the imagery and in terms of the information that what he would have got externally about what it is to be a black male, I didn't necessarily like it. So I was radical. And I got rid of my TV because I didn't want those people babysitting my child, because you're telling him nonsense. He didn't have a mobile phone until he was 16. And I did things like, he spent some time in school in Zimbabwe, and he would have to walk from the house, in the sunshine, and get him to school with his friends. So I think for me, in terms of the masculinity that's often shown, and particularly then, because I think it's better now actually. I mean, you can access black action figures and dolls and things like that. I remember when I was trying to get him one, he was 7 at the time. It literally took me a month. And finally I got it via Hamleys. I had to order it in order for me to get a black figure. Imagine.
But for me, my main paranoia with my boys is this gang crime thing, and my philosophy is that these kids do not know where they're from. That's why they have no direction. So that was the number one important thing to me: know where you come from. So if you know that you are a king, an African king, a Caribbean king, a Caribbean prince, you're never going to point a gun at another black man and shoot him in his face. You're not going to do that, because you're going to have pride in where you come from and what you're from. So I thought that was really important. So my oldest son, he's 22, and he went carnival for the first time last year. He hates crowds, but because everybody has a Jamaican flag because of Usain Bolt, he bought a Dominican one because he didn't want to be like everybody else. But when he went there and he saw how many Dominican flags were at carnival, that sense of pride filled him, So yeah, that's definitely a very important thing, and that's something that they're going to continue by themselves. I don't need to do it anymore.
C, you mentioned on a blog post about one of your daughters is the only black girl in her class, and she came home one day doing this for imaginary hair. I did that too. But can you talk about that experience?
I went there for that day. You go in and you meet the head teacher and all of this, and I was looking around the room and where the hell's the black people? But there weren't really that many, and I had a conversation with a couple of them, and they all happened to be in the other class. It's 2 form entry. So I kind of thought, okay, maybe the other black parents haven't come today. Maybe they're going to arrive on day 1. Got there, nah. They weren't there. It was just my daughter, literally the only black child, and she's like I said, she's spirited. She is a different kind of person. So the story goes, and read the blog post. Sorry, I'm rambling, but it goes that she internalized this for a few days, and then eventually told me in Sainsbury's when I lost my mind, and just like. Absolutely, I don't know if I dealt with it the right way, but I had to talk to the teacher about it, and I talked to the parent about it, and I kind of made it into an issue because I didn't want it to become an issue. So that got that kind of got dealt with, and the head teacher got involved and said, oh, we need to do some diversity training and all of this business. But I don't know, kids will be kids, and it doesn't seem to have affected their friendship. But yeah, I do often worry about the fact that she will go through her whole entire school life being the only black child.
Marianne, with your son as an actor, how is he in taking roles that kind of reinforce certain stereotypes?
We don't. Simple answer, we do not. We have. I said to his agent, do not send me any auditions or scripts that have anything to do with council estates, guns, drugs, gangs, or anything like that. I'm not doing that to my child. I'm not spending all this money for him to keep him off the streets so he can go to drama school to play someone who's on the streets. That's not gonna happen. Yeah. For what? Somebody asked me that if I let him know about racism in that industry, and I said, hell yeah, I do. There was an incident where he got the part, it was a Disney part, and he got the part, but then they gave you that line with, oh, they've gone another way. What actually happened was, he got the part, they needed a black person to play his mother. They couldn't find a black person. He auditioned with 2 women who were supposed to play his mother. It was Disney show Evermore, if any of you seen it. And then they decided not to go with a black woman. They picked a white woman, which meant his part went. And they gave the part to a white boy. He cried his eyes out. Completely cried, because that was his holy grail, the Disney Channel. But when I let him know, that was because you was black. That wasn't because you wasn't good, because you were the only damn kid there. Yeah, auditioning with 2 big women. That was because you was black, and that's going to happen. Sometimes that's going to happen. Do you know what he did? He cried his eyes out for about 2 hours, and then he went in his room and he wrote a script that he can star in himself. So teaching him about that type of thing, that in the industry he's in, there is racism, it just empowers him.
When I decided to take my son out of the education system, I remember his teacher, the final parents' meeting we had, she looked me in the eye and she said, your son is failing in English and there's nothing you can do about it. And I was like, thank you very much, Mrs. Smith. See you later, and we'll see. So when he published his first poetry book at 13, yeah, I was like, When he won the John Betjeman Award, I was like, When he became a for young poets, I was like, He got, right. He got loads and loads of awards, and also got to see the world, because he got to perform everywhere as far as the States, different festivals in the UK and what have you. So it was a real middle finger up to that woman. Real middle finger.
Sarita, you are raising your mixed race children, but am I right in understanding that you're raising them as black children? Yeah. Why is that?
The older one, I think he's become more aware, only because of certain situations. So he's been called the N-word quite a few times in school, which for me is a bit strange in primary school. Like, the kids look at him as black. They see mum, they see me picking him up. The teacher's gonna look at him and you're black at the end of the day. So whatever label that he has, people are always gonna treat him as such. So yeah, I do treat them as black, and I think at the end of the day, it's a harsh reality, but it's a reality they need to know.
How does your partner treat your black children? Not how do they treat them, but how do they deal with their blackness and the fact that they too are raising black children?
Going back to the situation with school and N-word being thrashed about, and it's not one occasion that, like, it's been, I think we've been called to the school about 5 times for the same situation. I don't know if it's because I've become desensitized, and I know I shouldn't, but I kind of wanted him to be able to half deal with it without someone's saying something, his first reaction is tell teacher, tell mum. And I'm like, well, what did you say? You need to say something. Tell them how you feel at the end of the day. But then I'm like, well, he's like, as it happened, 9, 10, 11. It's a lot to deal with. So the last time, admittedly, I got a bit frustrated. He came home and had this book, what it was called, but it was something about a kid in Africa, and it was like a black boy in the front illustration. And he said, oh, such and such, I overheard them laughing in the library, and they called the boy in the front an effed up N-word, which is a lot. There's a part of me that wants to go into school, but then there's a part of me that's just like, I don't want to go in there and be angry black woman. Maybe that's part of me probably not dealing with the situation as best as I could. However, Dad was completely enraged. Every time he's like completely enraged. It's not acceptable. What's the parents saying? What's the head teacher saying? And he goes in. So in a way, I'm kind of like, all right, you can be my angry black lady. You can be my angry black. Yeah, you channel that and you go in. Go girl. So I'm lucky in the sense that Dad will deal with it. And to be honest, I think because of the situation, they will listen more to Dad. Not to say that's right, but Dad totally gets it.
So I guess my question is, how do you encourage your children to have that confidence to pursue what they want to do, especially if it is something academic where black people aren't necessarily featured?
Even with my daughter, if you know me on Instagram, my daughter is very cute, and people go, oh, she could be a model. And it's like, no, actually, we'd kind of like her to be an engineer or like whatever it is that makes her happy. And my son is doing very well at school, like really well. He's one of the youngest in his year. He's in reception. He's reading early. He's really good at maths, like a couple of years ahead. And we just keep saying to him, we're just encouraging him. There's nothing wrong with being good. Being good, having education is not a white thing. There's nothing wrong with being black and being bright. It doesn't make you a bounty or a coconut. Like, all this stuff is so stupid. I don't understand why we hold ourselves back. I was watching a documentary and they were talking about, I can't remember the country in southern Africa, where they had books that were thousands of years old. These people had libraries. We knew about maths. They were studying the stars. Like, we know stuff and we're just holding ourselves back.
Just to add to that, what we do with our kids is show them that there are black people doing things that you typically don't see black people doing. So, for example, even before Hidden Figures came out and it was like massive, we bought my daughter, both of them actually, books about Mae Jemison, and we were showing them that actually it's not all about Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong, you know. There was this black woman and she went to space and she was like amazing, and you could be like her. And there are books, obviously there are loads of books about inspirational black people who have done fantastic things throughout all of history, and it's about exposing your kids to that. So that's what we try to do as much as possible. Because that Mae Jemison book, she took it in for World Book Day, and then the class did a whole project on Mae Jemison, and they all found out about her. So it just exposing them, I think, is the best way. And also telling them, then people who are hating on you and calling you coconut or whatever, they're just jealous. Yeah. They are just jealous. They don't want you to do well. So letting them know that.
Being in the midst of so many encouraging women, so many inspirational women, mothers, was really inspiring. I really enjoyed tonight.
It was so empowering to hear the stories of so many amazing women raising their children, living life and raising them with a purpose, ensuring that they understand who they are, why they've been created, and that there is absolutely nothing in this world that they cannot do and cannot achieve.
I have a child who is dual heritage. His father's white, I'm black. I really wanted a space where I could explore my new role as a mother, as well as being black, in a forum where I could discuss the sort of things that come to mind. How do I bring up my child? How do I explore what being a black mother means to me? And that's what coming here has enabled me to do today.